Hey guys, back again with another Games of the Month type video. We're talking about July 2016 game releases. And we're starting off with Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13, coming out on July 5th for PS4, PC. A long-running kind of strategy series, especially in Japan. I don't think like too many of these games come out in North America. Not my type of game. In fact, I actually don't know if we've gotten one of these games for a while. But it's cool that it's on PS4. I don't know. Is there really that big of an audience for this series in North America? I know you get a lot of like these types of games on PC, so I guess it's kind of interesting that it's a Japanese game of that type. Like it's this massive complex strategy series. But I can't say it appeals to me, but it is. I thought it was interesting enough to include. And I guess before we kind of move on to the other games, July is not as packed as June. Like June was pretty insane. July, there's actually only a couple of games I can see myself getting. In fact, only one of them I for sure getting. The rest of them just don't really appeal to me, and there's actually not a whole lot of them. But that's why most of the games I'm covering are going to be in this video. You'll see gameplay from most of them. The actual list that I usually do at the end is going to be a lot smaller this time around. But yeah, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13 comes out fairly early in the month. On July 7th for the PC and earlier in June on the 29th for Xbox One, we have Inside, developed by Playdead Games, and they previously did Limbo. And this is a game that's been a lot of Microsoft conferences. I was relatively interested in it, because the CG trailers were kind of interesting. They showed like this really oppressive kind of factory atmosphere, which kind of had all like these ideas running in my head. But actually looking at the gameplay of this, I am actually no longer interested in it. It looks exactly like Limbo. Like the gameplay looks the exact same, like this slow-paced kind of puzzle game. And it looks to be riddled with trial and error, I'm sure, like Limbo was. I know Limbo, a lot of people liked it. I really didn't care for it. So I'm, no longer interested in this one, despite really liking the atmosphere and look that the game has. But yeah, Limbo just put me off for its gameplay, and this looks way too similar to it, unfortunately. But I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this, so I did want to include it here. It's one of the more, I guess, interesting indie releases for July, at least on PC. I know Xbox One gets a little bit of an early release there, but yeah, some people are going to find this cool. Unfortunately, not really for me. On July 12th for the 3DS, we have 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. Weird name. Sega's putting this out. Apparently the previous games were developed by Image Epoch, which I found kind of interesting. And this game, it looks okay. It's the first-person battle system is not too appealing to me, but I do kind of like how your characters kind of jump out and attack the enemies. It kind of looks like a dungeon crawler, but it is in third person. You see your characters running around, and it's got like a Bravely Default type map on the bottom screen, it looks like. The battle system itself looks fairly basic. There are random encounters from the looks of it. The music, from what I've heard, I really like, but I don't know if this game is supposed to have like a good story or if it's actually supposed to be a good game in general. But it looks decent enough. Yet another JRPG on the 3DS. I'm more interested in this than most games in July, but I don't know, something tells me I just wouldn't like it, unless like the story's a big surprise. I think one of the big things with this game is fighting dragons as like your boss battles or something. I like the art generally. The art's pretty decent, I would say. But yeah, I can't see myself getting this right away. Maybe if I saw it for like cheap, like years later, I might pick it up. But yeah, I don't see this being like a day one thing for me. But I know quite a few people that are probably looking forward to this. Also on July 12th is Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme VS Force. This is one of those games that PlayAsia is doing, like the English version. Like you're not going to be able to find this in like at a GameStop or something. Yeah, not crazy about Gundam. I know it's a huge series. But yeah, it is cool that at least that they're bringing this game out in English. I don't know if we get too many of these. I seem to remember there was one, like a Muso game, a Mobile Suit Gundam Muso game. But yeah, I don't know. This game, I can't say it appeals to me. Looks pretty wacky and over the top, but yeah, if you're interested in it, definitely maybe check it out. I'm not sure a lot of people thought or knew or know that there's like an English release coming for this for the Vita. Always interesting to see some more Vita games, but yeah, I definitely personally not going to be getting it. Also on July 12th is Necropolis for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. A fairly interesting looking game. The developers of this have previously done the Shadowrun games, like Shadowrun Returns, Hong Kong, and Daggerfall, I think it's called. Apparently, like Returns is okay, but the others are apparently like really good. I've always kind of wanted to try them. This game, there's a few things that kind of turn me off about it. For one, it's like a procedurally generated dungeon, which I've never been crazy about. It's also a roguelike. If you die, I think you start like back at level 1 or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how progression works in this game, if it's like the kind of roguelike where nothing progresses between playthroughs. Like if there's some sort of progression, like or kind of like Rogue Legacy, I actually like the progression in that game. Like if there's a decent amount of progression, I can actually like roguelikes, but when you lose everything and there's just nothing that carries over from playthrough to playthrough, I find it hard to stick with them. The combat looks very like timing based. It looks decent. The art style is okay. I don't know. It looks a little kind of empty and drab sometimes. I like the music from what I've heard. I also think there's like a co-op element to this game. Like I'm not sure how deep like the actual mechanics are, or if it's like much of an RPG, but it's fairly interesting looking. I think more so than most of the games come out in July. So I'm actually going to keep my eye on this one. Like if it reviews well, and you know it has what I look for in a roguelike type game, I might actually end up buying this. So yeah, I'm definitely interested for sure. Also on July 12th, kind of a packed day, that one, we have Song of the Deep, developed by Insomniac Games. And the interesting thing with this game is its publishing. GameStop and EB Games in Canada are actually publishing this. I think you can only get it through them, like a download code through them, and like going to the store and getting a retail copy. A smaller game for Insomniac. It almost reminds me of like an indie game, really. Basically like a submarine Metroidvania type game from what I've seen. Honestly though, like it doesn't look that good to me. It looks really boring. Like, I don't know, maybe it's more interesting than it looks, but every time I've seen gameplay, it just does not appeal to me. Just like the slow plotting nature of it, and I don't know, it just does not look like to be a fun game. It looks like it might have more of like a puzzle focus compared to a lot of Metroidvania type games, but yeah, I can't say this excites me at all. Like, I know it is definitely like a cheaper game. Like, I think it's like a $20 game or something. And maybe this will be like a huge surprise and it ends up being better than it looks. But I can't say that it looks like much fun for me personally. But I'll still keep my eye on it just in case. On July 15th, Monster Hunter Generations, and knowing me, you would think that I would be buying this game day one, but honestly, I'm not sure if I want it. To me, I know a lot of people are excited for this, but I haven't really put in enough time into Monster Hunter 4, surprisingly enough, like 120 hours of that game, but there's still so much more content in it. And from what I've seen, like, there's not enough differences between it and this game. I mean, the combat's a little faster. I think you have like new combat styles and stances, but I mean it looks to be like kind of more of the same. I mean, other than like new monsters and environments, and I don't know if I really want to like pay the money and get into like a whole new Monster Hunter game that's barely different than the one I have and that I really haven't finished. Now, a lot of this depends on if I know a lot of people that end up getting this. Like if I know a decent amount of people that end up getting this, I'll probably get it because Monster Hunter games are just really fun to play with other people. And you know, I really do like the series a lot. I think they're really entertaining. There's a lot to like about them, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like enough of a leap from Monster Hunter 4 for me. It's just got that kind of more of the same type feeling. But we'll see. I think there's a very real possibility that I still end up getting this anyways, but we'll see. But at the same time, if you haven't played a Monster Hunter game before and you skipped out on Monster Hunter 4 for whatever reason, definitely this is probably a great point to jump in. Fantastic series. On July 15th, Obliteracers. I hadn't heard about this game, so I had to look up gameplay footage. Seems like kind of like a wacky Mario Kart kind of clone. It looks okay. It doesn't look terrible. It might be a fun multiplayer game. I actually kind of wish it was on PC though. It seems like a game that would be actually a good fit on PC. We're seeing like kind of a resurgence in like same screen multiplayer games on PC of all things. It sounds weird, but honestly, there's a lot of really popular ones on there. But of course, this would be fun on PS4 and Xbox One as well. I think. I don't know. I think this game's going to go under the radar, especially since I hadn't heard about it at all. But I mean, it looks okay if you're kind of in the mood for another like Mario Kart type racing game. This might end up fitting the bill. On July 19th is 10 Second Ninja X for a bunch of different things. Actually, the Vita, surprisingly enough. And I think this is like an updated version of the original 10 Second Ninja on PC, which surprisingly enough I hadn't heard of. It's got an interesting concept. It reminds me of Super Meat Boy a bit, going through level after level, but you only have 10 seconds to kill all the enemies in the level. And obviously this looks to be like a very challenging game, and it probably ramps up pretty quickly. I think there might be some multiplayer, like some co-op. It looks like one of those fun little games that you'd play on the PC. So honestly, it looks actually pretty decent to me. I'm not crazy about the art. It strikes me as like kind of cheap looking, but the game itself looks pretty fun as long as the controls are tight. But I can't say I'm gonna like be rushing out to get this, but it's one of those games that if it's on a Steam sale for like a couple bucks, I'll definitely check it out. And on July 19th is probably the only game I'm buying this month, and that's an I Am Setsuna for PC and PS4. Square Enix's new RPG project with like a newly formed RPG studio in Japan. And this game's got this really striking art style to it. It's got like this winter setting that I really like. The theme is sadness, apparently, which I think is a really interesting theme. The battle system looks very much to be inspired by Chrono Trigger. It looks really fun. It's got like this old school charm to it, and the soundtrack sounds incredible from what I've heard. It's all piano driven, which I guess some people are not going to like that, but every song I've heard about for this game has been beautiful. Like I think this game might have one of my favorite soundtracks ever. So yeah, I'm actually really excited for it. I mean, it's not like the most complex JRPG ever. But, you know, they're trying to capture that old, like, Super Nintendo PS1 RPG feel with this game. And I'm hoping that this game's good. I mean, I'm hoping that the story is good. That would be kind of a disappointment. And it's not getting a retail release, sadly. And I know a lot of people are bummed that it's not coming out for the Vita like it was in Japan. This is a digital-only game, but I'm just happy that we're actually getting this in the West, because I've always thought this game looked really cool. And I'm all for a JRPG like this. But yeah, I'm loving everything I'm seeing about this game. I think this might be a big surprise, and it's easily the game I'm most excited for in July. And on July 29th, Batman Returned to Arkham, kind of an HD. Well, not like, it's a remaster of a game that was already in HD, but this is weird to me that we're getting like this. Like, I don't know. Is there really a demand for this? I mean, it's only Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, but I guess now you can play them on PS4 and Xbox One. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. Everything I've seen about that game, I don't think I would like it with the move to open world, especially after I really didn't care for Arkham Knight. But yeah, I don't know. I maybe some people are excited for this. Personally, I could care less. But if you haven't played Asylum, then maybe this is a good way to play it. And I know a lot of people really do like Arkham City, so it would be a good way for a lot of new people to play that one as well. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to be picking up this collection.
You are the one to blame.
Okay, and now the rest of the games on my piece of paper here. Carmageddon Max Damage comes out on July 8th for the PS4 and Xbox One. Apparently there was actually a Carmageddon game before this, and I didn't even know about this one. That's one of those like really old series. Obviously, it got a lot of controversy back in the day. I don't know if that new one that came out recently it was good, but I can't say I have much interest in this. But still kind of interesting that Carmageddon is still a series that exists, and there's games made for that. Ghostbusters, and this is based off the new movie that's coming out on July 12th. PS4, Xbox One, PC. Activision's publishing it. Developed by Fireforge Games. Never heard of them. Apparently they haven't done a game before. This is so weird. I looked up this game because I wanted to get gameplay for the video portion of this, and I couldn't find any actual gameplay. It was just like these really short trailers. And there's barely any info on this game. Like, I don't even know what this game's about, what the gameplay's like. Maybe they're trying to hide a lot of stuff because, you know, it's tied to the movie, but being a licensed game, it's probably going to be garbage, but I just thought it was interesting that there's, like, nothing on this game and it comes out so soon. Really, really weird, honestly. Maybe Activision is just, like, sending that off to die. I don't know. But Video Ball is like the indie game on PC, PS4, Xbox One on July 12th. The main guy behind this is Tim Rogers. I think he's like this. He was like not really a game reviewer, but a game writer. His writing was really different. The game looks kind of fun though. It's like a multiplayer. Like it reminds me of like air hockey. I don't know. It looks like this small little, you know, fun like multiplayer indie game that would fit right at home on the PC. I don't know. There's a lot of those games, like those kind of small multiplayer focused games that come out on PC that actually get a rather large audience. So maybe that might actually be a game that is like fun with friends. But moving on, Fairy Fencer F Advent Dark Forest comes out on the PS4 on July 26th. That's a Compile Heart game that came out on PS3, and this is like, I guess, an updated version with obviously better graphics. Being a Compile Heart game, I can't say I have much interest in it. Maybe if it was really cheap, but there's so many RPGs, like JRPGs I need to play, a lot of old ones I haven't played, a lot of classics that I don't want to waste my time playing that game. Abduction comes out on PC July 26th. I looked this up. It's like a Myst spiritual successor. It's very similar to those games. Developed by Cyan Worlds. It's also for Oculus Rift, apparently. And Cyan Worlds has made up a lot of people that created Myst. So, and I think it's like you get abducted by aliens and you're like in an alien world and you have to escape. If you like those old school first-person point-and-click adventure games, this might be right up your alley. Not really into it myself, but who knows? That could be an interesting game. The Banner Saga 2 comes out on PS4, Xbox One, July 26th. It's already out on PC, apparently. I didn't know that. I still need to play the first one. And the first one looks pretty good. This traveling caravan, very harsh game, a lot of decisions that you have to make, strategy RPG. And I think this is like a direct follow-up to the first one, so I didn't want to include any gameplay for this for fear of spoilers, but probably still one of the more interesting games to come out in July, even though it's already out on PC. But I have the first one on Steam. I just need to get around to playing it. But and Stoic developed that. I think the first game was like a Kickstarter. Ex-BioWare guys helped with that. But that's it. Yeah, not too many games in July. Not too many at all. And really, I Am Setsuna is, I think, the only one that I'm probably going to buy. Maybe Monster Hunter. maybe seventh. Well, I'm not gonna get Seventh Dragon. Nah. So yeah, there's like two games I'm probably getting, and one of them's a big maybe. But what are you guys looking forward to in July? Certainly not as crazy as June and the upcoming months. Well, August is actually not too crazy, but October is insane. But yeah, what games are you planning on picking up in July? What did you think about some of the games I've shown? Were any of these new to you? I'm very curious. And someone suggested putting the developers of the game, of the games in my video, and that's a good idea. I was thinking about doing it, but for whatever reason, I didn't in the previous one. But that's a good idea, so I decided to do that for this one. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.